Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast unit by unit video. Today we take a look at the next HQ choice for the new Drukhari Codex, the Homunculi. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another unit by unit video. I'm Skari, the Fancy Archon, and this is SkaredCast. If you haven't already, check the links down below for more videos in this series of unit by unit of the Drukhari Codex. We've seen the Archon, we've seen the Succubus, and in our third installment we take a look at the Homunculi. So this video is in two parts. First, I talk a bit about the lore, what the Homunculi are, and then we go through their unit entry, talk about some basic standards, basic things like that. I will be going into more depth for the Patreons exclusively as we break apart this book in more detail. So if you're a new Archon or you need information on how to beat your Drukhari buddy playing his Drukhari army, stay tuned and let's dive right in. Homunculi. Ancient and horrific, the Homunculi are deranged flesh sculptors that dwell in the dark bowels of the Dark City. The covens of the Homunculi are integral to the survival of Comorite society due to their mastery of regenerative practices, yet they remain objects of terror and suspicion. The Homunculi are only too willing to show off their skills with scalpel and hypersteroid, teeth barred in glee, all the while. Homunculi alter themselves so drastically that they no longer resemble those they mockingly call their people. Despite their peculiar modifications, Homunculi are always attenuated and twisted. Homunculi's head are usually hung with peculiar syringes and drug dispensers that channel directly into their spinal sump. Being functionally immortal, the Homunculi feel no need for the undignified rushing of younger Drukhari. They move with an ethereal grace, sometimes held aloft by powerful suspensor crystals, sometimes slithering along on elongated spine tails. Unhurried and patient, they know that to grant a truly interesting death takes time. In battle, the sinister Homunculi orchestrate the carnage around them with the passion of an artist. They drift across the landscape with a macabre elegance. Homunculi often carry esoteric weapons such as the Crucible of Malediction, a receptacle filled with the essence of tortured psychers. Should a homunculus die, they do so with a leering grin etched upon their face, for they will soon be back to seek revenge. The Homunculi, leaders of the covens. Now, we went over the different covens and what they are, essentially, but the Homunculi themselves in-game are the leaders of the coven obsessions. And historically, they're a little tougher, a little slower than most of the other Dark Eldar characters. So, Homunculus is a little bit slower than the other HQs. They only move 7 inches. They have an excellent weapon skill and ballistic skill on 2s. They have the average elf, Eldari, strength of 3. And their toughness is 4. They're tougher than your average Drukhari unit. They have 5 wounds, which is characteristic of pretty much every HQ in this book. And they have 5 attacks. So they have a decent number of close combat attacks. Their leadership is good at 8. And they have a 6+ armor save. Goes up to a 5+ when in cover. Now, a Homunculi is a single character model. It is armed with a Stinger pistol and Homunculus tools. These are very basic weapons. And the Homunculus starts at 70 points. The Stinger pistol is a 5-point upgrade, and is essentially a poison pistol, so it wounds everything on a 4+ that's not a vehicle, and it adds +2 to the roll. So in essence, they're wounding on 2+ with 1 shot. The Homunculus tools are poison weapon melee, so they wound everything on 4+, which means if you're not attacking a tank, with 5 attacks, you're getting a few wounds in, on, and off. Now, where the Homunculus comes in handy is the Homunculi are very supporting characters, and based on their war gear, they can fill a variety of ranges and roles. So what weapon options do the Homunculi have? Now, if you have a specific one that you really like and you'd like me to try it out in a battle report or things like that, leave a comment down below and I will try and play it. As you know, I like to try things before I talk about them here on the channel. So I don't like to give false information or things that I haven't practiced with and had experience with on the tabletop. So this model may take an Ichor Injector. Now, an Ichor Injector is a melee weapon. Now, it takes it in addition to anything else it has. What it does is it makes a single attack. This attack is Strength of User -1 AP and can reroll failed wound rolls. So normally you'll be wounding on 5s, maybe even 6s with the Ichor Injector. Now, this is a single attack. It's only -1, so it's not essentially going to do the craziest amount of damage. However, if the Ichor Injector rolls a 6 to wound, it will cause D3 mortal wounds to the target in addition to any other damage. So, on the off chance, there's a chance that you will get an additional couple of mortal wounds. Now, this isn't too bad. The Dark Eldar book has a variety of ways to get mortal wounds off when fighting the enemy, without the need of things like psychic powers. So we've got Torment grenade launchers, Phantasm grenade launchers, sorry. We've got the Ichor Injector, we've got Flesh Gauntlets. There's lots of different ways to get those mortal wounds in there as well. And the Ichor Injector is only 5 points. So it's a very cheap addition to your Homunculus. Now, this model may replace its Stinger pistol with a Hex Rifle or a Liquefy Gun. So replacing its 5-point weapon for either a Hex Rifle, that is a 5-point weapon as well, or a Liquefy Gun, which is an 11-point weapon. Now, I'm not a fan of the Liquefy Gun, but I don't mind the Hex Rifle. The Hex Rifle is a 36-inch range, heavy 1 sniper rifle, so you may target characters. It's strength 4 and it's -1 AP. But if you roll a 6 to wound, it suffers a mortal wound. In essence, it's a 36-inch heavy sniper rifle. Nothing crazy. It's pretty decent, and you know, on and off. If you want your Homunculus to sit back and shoot stuff, you know, it might peg a wound or 2 off a character. Not the most efficient way to use a Homunculus, however. The Liquefy Gun is a flamer, D6 shots, strength 3, and AP D3. So it could be AP1 and it could be AP3. Situational, rather expensive. I'm not really sure what GW is thinking, as the Liquefy Gun is overshadowed by a lot of different options in this book. Even though, in mass, the Liquefy Gun I have had success with it, but it takes more than 1. It takes 2 or maybe 3 in a unit to cause some serious hurt on normally 1 wounded models with a light to medium armor save. Last option. This model may replace its Homunculus tool with 1 item for the Weapons of Torture. Now, the Weapons of Torture are the cool weapons that all Homunculi and Coven units can kind of tap into. And they include an Agonizer, an Electro-Corrosive Whip, a Flesh Gauntlet, a Mind Phase Gauntlet, a Scissor Hand, or a Venom Blade. Now, if you look at the Archon, I'm a big fan of the Venom Blade. Always, wounds on 2+, it's a great way to get lots of dice rolling on your opponent. It's a very cheap weapon option as well. The Scissor Hand is not too shabby either. Scissor Hand itself, I'll take a look at it in a second. The Flesh Gauntlet is Strength of User. It's no AP modifier, but any roll of a 6 to wound against a non-vehicle unit is it causes a mortal wound in addition to any damage. So if you want your Heamonculus to go around and attempt getting mortal wounds off, that's another great choice as well in close combat. That's the Flesh Gauntlet, and it has no AP at all. Now we have the basic Agonizer, which is a poison weapon, wounds on 4+, -2 AP. It's your basic close combat weapon that you would normally give anybody. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Electro-Corrosive Whip. The Electro-Corrosive Whip is one of my favorite weapons. It is pretty much the exact same as an Agonizer. It's a poison weapon, wounds on a 4+, unless it's a tank. It's -2 AP. However, it is 2 damage a pop. Very powerful weapon in close combat. With 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s, and 2 damage apiece, it makes the Homunculus quite a character in killing not only other characters, but tougher enemy units like Primaris Marines that have 2 wounds apiece. Then we have the Mind Phase Gauntlet as well. It's a melee weapon, strength of user, no AP, just damage 2. It's just a 2 damage melee weapon that strikes at strength 3. The Scissor Hand itself is a melee weapon at -1, and you can make an additional attack with the weapon. So it gives you an extra attack at -1, so you can have 6 attacks with the Scissor Hand. So that is it. The Agonizer, Electro-Corrosive Whip, Flesh Gauntlet, Mind Phase Gauntlet, Scissor Hand, and Venom Blade. If you have a favorite one, let me know in the comments. Which one do you prefer for your Heamonculus? Now, the Homunculus has a variety of different abilities. The first is Power from Pain. So, turn 1 gets a 6-up, Feel No Pain. Turn 2 can reroll Charge and Advanced rolls. Turn 3 hits on +1 in combat, so +1 to hit in combat. Turn 4, he's Fearless. And turn 5, every unit around 6 inches away is -1 leadership, which can be pretty handy, especially with some of the obsessions that can cause leadership modifiers or things like that. He also has a rule called Insensible to Pain. That's a 5+ invulnerable save. One of my favorite obsessions, the Prophets of Flesh, adds +1 to that and makes it a 4+ invulnerable save. That is across the board, and I believe it's one of the most powerful obsessions for the Coven units in your army. And the last one is called Master of Pain. You add 1 to the toughness of all Homunculus Coven units whilst they're within 6 inches of any friendly Homunculus models with this ability. +1 toughness, so it includes himself. So he's toughness 5. Grotesques become toughness 6. Kronos and Talos become toughness 7. And any tank with the Homunculus Coven will also gain an additional toughness. So you can have toughness 6 Raiders, toughness 6 Venoms, toughness 7 Forge-World Reapers, or toughness 8 Tantaluses. So keep that in mind and use your Homunculus to buff the other Coven units around. Even Rax, the Rack with 5 toughness, can be quite a sturdy opponent with 4+ invulnerable save and a 5 toughness to get rid of an objective. The keywords are simple: Eldari, Drukhari, Heamonculus Coven, and Character Infantry Homunculus. So let me know what you think down below. My favorite way to run a Homunculus is with an Electro-Corrosive Whip and a Stinger Pistol. Very simple way of running it, and not only killing in close combat, but also a great supporting character. If you want to keep him very cheap, just go with the Stinger Pistol and keep his Homunculus tools. However, I feel that the 2 points extra for a Venom Blade goes a long way if you just want to have poison weapons. But let me know what you think down below. A huge shout out to the Patrons who help support the content I do. If you want to be a part of that, get exclusive content, check the link down below and help support the channel. I am Skari, your grateful host, the fancy Archon, sitting here in the spire surrounded by Drukhari goodness. And I will be back next time. Skari, out. Ah, the dark.
It's an exclusive. We're playing the game.